You never know how these things work out, do you? So, hey,
Nope.
Anthony, we're going live. Who do you want to do a shout out to?
I'd love to do a shout out to my son Anthony and also to Love.
Anthony and Love,
Yep.
Love, Love.
LOV, unconditional love. The love that
Absolutely,
unites
Anthony
us
and
and
Love.
bonds us all.
Here we go. Oh, guys, I am so blessed, lucky, everything. Every day I get to do this with people. Today we're talking with Anthony Profetta. He is a former medical student. I want to see how that worked out. He's turned into an internationally known, professionally certified meditation teacher, mindfulness expert, and singing bowl specialist. Anthony, I hope you have some singing bowls with you because I really want to hear like "Ooh," that kind of thing going on.
I think I
Okay,
can make that happen for you.
Anthony, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, Michael. It's an honor to be here. I really am excited for today and I look forward to our conversation.
Excellent. Well, let's see how things turn out. So, singing bowls, that is not something that everyone has in their kitchen or just around at Target. So, just enlighten everyone, first of all, what singing bowls are and what they're used for.
Well, singing bowls, depending on the type that are made, some have an ancient, very long history. The middle ones, which are typically called Himalayan singing bowls, some people call them Tibetan singing bowls, go back thousands of years. But more of the new agey ones, which are made of quartz crystal. In fact, I do have one. So this quartz crystal, but it's dyed yellow. These are more of a sort of new age product. They haven't been around as long, late 70s, early 80s, but you could really utilize anything as an object of meditation.
What's that made out of?
The quartz
That was
crystal,
quartz.
it was, but it's colored yellow to indicate they say that the seven notes of a musical scale, they say they correlate in many traditions to the seven centers of the energetic body. So some traditions called chakras. And
Right.
so it was yellow, indicating that that note aligns to the solar plexus or the third chakra of the system.
Okay. Gotcha. What's the one up here?
The crown. The crown.
What color is that one?
That one is purple, violet.
Okay. Awesomeness. And then do the bowls that you have, are they different colors for the different centers?
They do. I typically don't use the colored ones. I typically have. I created a set on my own that's well, actually, the majority of the set I actually got from a friend, but then created some for specific frequencies to add other elements and medicines, good vibrations into the room. But mine are quartz crystals, so they're white, but I have lights inside of them that light them up the colors of the chakra when I do play.
Wow.
Now,
Can you play it again?
Sure. Well, I even have a different one. This one's clear. So this one's handheld. So you could actually walk around a room with it and like use it for healing over people's bodies. But
That is amazing.
and so what you can do when
I don't want to talk anymore. I'm just listening.
Just listen. There you go. That's the point of it. Is
like seriously, I'm just listening to that, and it's just making me like very calm.
Cool, and that's the purpose. You see, in any method of meditation, we're trying to focus our mind on something. Some people use a mantra. Some people use the body breathe. Some people use visualization techniques. When we're working with sound and sound healing and sound energies, we're just focusing on the sounds of this bowls or whatever instruments people might be using. You don't have to use bowls. Some people use gongs. Some people use, other instruments like didgeridoos and harps. I've played with people where I brought in a harpist and a flautist and a violinist to play with us. And I play the singing bowls and they play their instruments. And you're just focusing on these sounds like you would utilize a mantra. Just focus on it like you're listening to a song, put all your awareness and attention upon it, and just allow that to be your anchor to this moment. However, the benefit of being in the sound vibrations is that many traditions say they have a very powerful effect on our body, mentally, emotionally, and physically. In fact, the energies of the sound waves go out and they affect. Energy has the ability to affect energy. They say it affects your energetic vibration in very positive ways.
You know, one of the things that I've heard over the years is that the bodies have a frequency. Like I think everyone loves the A's at 440 or 320, whichever frequency that is. Which one is
Right.
it that
Well,
we use?
Originally, they say that the A was 432.
Okay.
However, it then got changed to a 440 frequency when music, and what I really should say is orchestras around the world, began to be standardized. So if you went to a orchestra concert in Milan and Sydney or Melbourne, Australia, and New York City, you'd be hearing the music everywhere you went the exact same way, because the Federation of Musicians began to standardize music so that every instrument would be tuned to the A note based off of a 440 frequency. That
Okay.
wasn't
Which one?
the late 50s, though.
Now, which one do you like to use yourself? The 440 or the, what is it, 432?
I do enjoy 432. I have a 528 frequency that I add into the room. I have a bunch of other, every bowl has its own unique frequency. And most of mine correlate to what are known as the solfeggio scale frequencies, which are believed to be more harmonious, more in tune with nature compared to those that are 440.
Yeah. And so, like our westernized music all has that same scale, da-da-da-da-da-da, that kind of thing.
Correct.
Is that what your bowls are, your sounds are tuned to?
Yes,
Sort of, except there it's down a little bit for the
in
A.
terms of whether you know them as do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, or A, or C, D, E, F, G, A, B, whichever you know the Western scale. Yes, I have those bowls and more when I typically perform sound baths.
Wow. Now, the sound bath, is that that's multiple bowls going at one time, right?
Yes. So it could be at times where there's just one being played, but typically I'm playing with two hands and I'm adding sounds and frequencies of all different bowls, multiple bowls into the environment and into the room.
When you meditate yourself, do you actually like have a bowl in front of you and like play it, or you just how do you do that?
No, typically when I'm doing my personal practice, it's silence. The silence is pretty profound. It's not, once you begin to access it, you realize it's not very silent. There's a lot of information and things that are happening in the silence. But
Yeah.
I'm doing sound baths. Typically, I've been very blessed with where my journey has taken me, and I'm been asked and called and scheduled to typically do a sound bath somewhere like 5, 6 days a week. And
Oh
so I
my.
do get a dose of those vibes, and I do meditate to the sounds when I'm doing a sound bath. However, I still have to remain semi-conscious so that I just don't drift off into my own meditation, and then forget I'm playing these bowls for others.
So when you actually get people together, you get them all in a room. Are they lying down on mats? Are they sitting in chairs? What are they doing when you do a sound bath?
When people come, I tell them that they have the opportunity to make themselves as comfortable as they like in any posture or position that they like. So they can lay
Okay.
down on a mat, they can sit up against a wall, they can sit in a chair, or they can sit in a space exactly right where they are. If they're comfortable just sitting upright, they're welcome to that. So it's whatever position the person wants, but most people do like and enjoy to actually be laying down fully.
Gotcha. And the purpose of the sound bath is just meditation. And I don't want to say just meditation because that's a big thing. But I understand that you can work with chronic pain and other things with the sounds.
You can. There's actually a lot going on beyond the meditation aspect. So you are, focusing on the sounds, which give you the opportunity to practice some meditation, keep your mind present whenever it wanders to past or future, bring it back to the sounds again. But because we're in a space where all this energy, these vibrations, these frequencies are being generated, they begin to move over, around, and through our bodies and begin to affect them in many different ways. Now, from a mental, emotional, brainwave perspective, there was a research by a university in Canada which began to show that people who attend sound baths, because for many people, these tones, just like you said, are quite soothing, quite
Yes.
calming, quite pleasant. They do begin to shift your brain waves out of your beta, which is your like everyday thinking, conscious mind, word mind, analytical mind, and begin to move it into the more relaxed and calm brainwave states of alpha and theta. And so that research was showing that that began to happen on average for people in the group when they went to a sound bath and they hooked all these electrodes up to people's heads and monitored to them. that they began to shift into the more relaxed alpha state on average in 12 minutes. Now, that's
That's
nearly
fast.
half the amount of time it takes people to do it who are practicing like a formal silent practice. Typically, it takes people who begin to start meditation on average 20 minutes to hit the alpha state, which is why many meditation teachers tell their students you should meditate for about 20 to 30 minutes a day, because typically it will take 20 minutes to hit that state. But in singing bowls and sound bath experience, it took less. So people are feeling more relaxed, more calm. They're getting into that alpha state longer. They're de-stressing their body. They're shifting out of their sympathetic, which is your stress, fight or flight, nervous system component, and into the more restful and relaxed state of the parasympathetic. So that's
Wow.
happening. But in terms of what you asked, chronic pain, yes, there's a lot of evidence out there. There's a lot of evidence of people and research. There's documented scientific research which you can find in terms of people with fibromyalgia, which is a pain, chronic pain
Constant.
symptom, and some other pain issues where they attend sound baths and they began to feel a greater sense of well-being and relaxation afterwards. And it tends to linger or remain for at least a couple of days. And so there have been evidence that if you maybe attend a sound bath and you are dealing with chronic pain a couple of times a week, you may begin to bring a lot more benefit to yourself in having a little bit more of a peaceful sort of pleasant experience throughout your day than just trying to manage it through other ways.
Now, I have to agree with that. And if nothing else, when you pulled up the quartz bowl, the yellow one, and just started
Yeah.
the vibrations, immediately, I mean, I was like going with the sound. And you could have just done that, and we'd be here meditating for the next half an hour. uh,
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and that's been my joy over this period. I never thought I would be doing sound baths 15 years ago. I mean, 10 years ago even. I didn't know what a sound bath was. I didn't know what meditation was. I've been practicing that for over 2 decades. Traveling all around the world. I went to live as a monk in monasteries of India and Nepal, trying to study as many different methods of meditation as I could.
back up
However,
for a second. So
sure.
I just can't let you throw that in and stop.
Yeah,
You went to India and Nepal to
yeah,
study being a monk. Like most
yeah.
people are afraid to travel like out of their neighborhood to go someplace and then out to another state and then another neighboring country. You went to India and Nepal
Yeah,
just
because what
because.
happened was prior to 2016, all my study with meditation was here in the United States with some very well-known teachers along the way. I'm very blessed to have been guided by many meditation masters that are currently in our world and with us. However, I wanted to get to the birthplace of where they say these practices came from. And so once I decided to make a much more holistic turn, in the very kind introduction, you did say I started as a former medical student. I
Yes.
began to move away from traditional medicine. Not that I think there's anything bad with it. However, I think it needs a bit of an overhaul in the sense that their own research is showing that when I was in school, the American Medical Association research showed that nearly 80% of all illness and disease in this world, the number one root cause was stress. Now, I said when I was in school because a new study was published in 2021, which now says that nearly 90% of all doctor and hospital visits worldwide are stress related. And
Why are
so
we not paying more attention to that then?
the studies are out there. We know that, but the problem is, a lot of people, they're running to their doctors. Not that it's a bad thing for a quick fix, the magic
Mhm.
pill to just get them to relieve the symptom, so that they can move through life with a little bit more greater peace and well-being, not dealing with whatever symptom it is that's arising in their body. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is it's only putting a band-aid over the situation because you're not getting to the root cause. And so what happens is if you don't get rid of the stressor and now you're taking some medicine or doing something that took that symptom away, the
Right.
stressor says, wait a minute, I'm still here. And now if I can't manifest through that symptom anymore, I have to go to another organ system and begin to create a new symptom or a disease somewhere else. So if you don't help the person get to the underlying root cause, you're kicking the can down the road for problems somewhere else later on. And I didn't want to do that. I want to help people get to the underlying root cause. I knew how much meditation practice helped me So I said, all right, you know what I want to do? I want to learn as many methods of meditation as I can. And I really want to dive even deeper into it. So in 2016, I made a more holistic turn. I went to live in India as a monk in a couple monasteries and in many ashrams, trying to learn as many methods as I could to put all these different methods in my toolbox. Then I went to Nepal and I was studying some Tibetan meditations over there in a monastery in Kopan. And so I came back with all of these different techniques, modalities, and tools, because there's 8 billion different minds in the world. And so not every single person is going to resonate with the same method of meditation. We're different people.
Let me ask you a question about this, because you're right. There's so many different kinds of meditations, right? Are all the meditations literally trying to get to the same end? What is in your mind? What is the purpose of meditations? And out of all the ones that you've studied, do they all want to go to the same place?
The short answer typically is yes. They are all trying to get you to the same point. The longer answer is that in today's society, no. Their roots are similar. But today, people are coming to meditation not for deeper spiritual components, which is where these practices really sprung out of. So they grew out of the traditions that are looking to help you connect to your true self, your Buddha nature, have a deeper, more intimate connection with God, or anything like that. So those are really the roots of where meditation comes from. So ideally, they are all trying to get you to that same understanding of reality. But in today's world, not everyone's coming to meditation or coming to me for instruction for that. Many are coming because they say, hey, Anthony, my mind is like crazy. It's chaotic. I need help slowing it down. I need help with anxiety. I need help with, working with the difficult emotions. So today there seems to be a greater interest in these practices for mental health, for emotional health, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. But the answer to your question would be the truth of where they really sprang out of was more a spiritual component.
Gotcha. To connect with whatever higher being someone wants to call it, whatever that higher
Correct.
being is. And
Absolutely.
then once you connect with that, what happens?
Interesting question.
I haven't made it there yet. I'm just waiting for that to happen. So
that totally depends on what philosophy, teaching, or tradition they come out of. And but the thing is, even those traditions and philosophies, they sometimes don't agree in what happens either. Like just coming from certain perspectives, some say that you break out of the cycle of birth, death, rebirth, reincarnation, that you wouldn't have to come back here and do it all over again because you found what you've lost. You've regained what you've lost. You're this feeling of separation of I'm this thing called Anthony. This physical body is now reunited with the source of its being, and so there's no purpose to come back and have to do this anymore. You've evolved to that higher sense of consciousness. Some traditions say, yes.
I want to bring. I don't want to go past that too far, because one of the things that we talked about in our pre-interview and in the green room was whether or not there was a life after death, right? And we talked about that. Do we just you die, the energy is not destroyed, but just goes,
Right.
But yeah, that's not a very satisfying death for me.
No, and again, there seems to be no real full 100% definite answer on what happens there either. Now, some say that it goes back and I love there's a sort of a story by Rumi, a poem by Rumi, in which he says that we are a drop of the ocean, in our essence. We are the same as that source in essence. It's like if I went down to the beach here and I took a little medicine dropper of a drop of seawater from the ocean. I'm here in Florida for, and if any listeners are not, so I can go down to the ocean with a little medicine dropper. I take a drop of seawater out. That would be me. Okay. The ocean itself is the source, whether you want to call it God or spirit or whatever, to me, it doesn't matter. But in essence, that droplet of water and the ocean are the same. It's the seawater, it's the same content. And they would say that that's us in our essence. Now we're the same. We have the essence of God, divinity within us. And some traditions say that we are trying to merge ourselves back to that ocean so that the water, the droplet that we are, becomes one with that ocean of divinity again. And when we do, they would say, some say, we retain our individuality of knowing ourselves as being part of, yet also in essence separate from that source, but one with it. Some traditions say that when the droplet merges back, it merges back into the infinite totality of that oneness and sort of becomes absorbed within it again.
Right.
Then there are some traditions that say once you hit that stage of enlightenment, poof, your light does go out. There's nothing else for you to know anymore. I'm a little bit like,
Yeah.
that's a little nihilistic. I don't
Yeah.
really enjoy that one
Yeah.
either.
I don't want to do that one.
No, because then really, what is the point? Just to experience that and then it's gone? I mean, that's to me a little bit like I don't know. And that is a very small percentage of some Eastern traditions that do believe in that. That's not a very common one or a universal one. Some say, we go back and we enter heaven and we live with God and the angels for infinity and a state of like bliss and oneness and love and ecstasy for the rest. So there's no certain definite answer on what does
Right.
happen, but I do believe there is a continuation of life and life after death, both from a spiritual perspective and even a science perspective, because science says that we're an energy, that all matter, which is our body, is an energy, and energy can't be created and it can't be destroyed. It simply just transitions from one state to another. And so by that very definition, some traditions think spirituality and science are at odds, like they're butting heads with each other. I believe they firmly support one another. I believe that they're speaking about this world in the same way, but using different terminology. Like our ancient ancestors didn't have quantum physics and chemistry and
Right.
biology, where they use specialized terms to describe the world around us. However, by the very law of energetics, the law of energy, energy cannot be created, cannot be destroyed. All it could simply do is transition from one state to another. Then by default, doesn't science confirm that we are eternal?
It kind of does, right? At least immortal, right? So then
Right.
the real question is which one of those three options that you gave us do we get to experience? Like kind of hanging around, or just going. Poof. Yeah, I'm on board with like the first one, kind of with the second, third one, not so
Yeah.
much, right?
Yeah. 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 I'm with you on that.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm hoping that's what happens. Do
Right.
you
Yeah.
realize that right now we've been talking, and I could just keep going. I just looked at our little time clock. You are
I
now the
do.
record holder for the longest show for a funny way of looking,
Well,
and I'm not even done asking you questions.
well, I'm honored. I mean, yeah, I can definitely talk. So as long as you want to talk, I'm open. I love conversations like this.
Well, you're in Vero Beach, Florida,
Right. Yes.
um, so people that want to hang out with you actually can.
They
And
can.
where and how can they do that if they're in Florida? And then I'm guessing we can also do some stuff online too, right?
Sure. Yeah, I am absolutely all over the state of Florida, specifically mostly the East Coast. So I do travel from like Miami all the way up to New Smyrna Beach and St. Augustine and all of that area. But the
Okay.
majority of all of my in-person classes are typically in Indian River and Brevard County. So
Okay.
actually, everywhere from like Port St. Lucie, really, up to Cocoa Beach is the majority of places you'll be able to find me in person. And you could go to anthonyprofetta.com. Wow, perfect. And we were in sync, right?
Wow. Bring that bowl back up, man.
That was pretty good. We didn't
Oh,
connect it to the mind. And you can go there and you can find out where I'll be. But really, the best place, because sometimes the website isn't updated as quickly, is actually Facebook or Instagram, because there all of my classes and events are listed under Anthony Profeta Meditation. So you can find me and come check out a class. And
excellent.
definitely in-person stuff as well. I do. I mean, online stuff as well.
Well, yeah, we'll do some more online stuff. I definitely want to have you come back and talk some more about chronic pain. I want you to play some more bowls for us. Maybe we could just get the bowl going in the background, and we'll just
Sure.
meditation out while we're going.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Since you said the yellow one, you like.
I really did like that one. That would have me going like, "Whoa, I'm leaving." So we are gonna bounce out of here. I definitely want to have you back. Thank you so much, Anthony, for showing up, and
Thank you.
I will see you in the future, man.
Yeah. Blessings to you. It's been fun and definitely an honor. Thank you.